Hello, beautiful. Dr. Brooke here with episode 3 of Your Body Speaks. So excited you're here and so excited to be sharing with you some of the ways your body whispers to you. So these are going to be some of the early warning signals your body communicates with you before it starts to scream. So, one of my big things, if you haven't heard, is that I tell you a lot, or I talk about this a lot, that the body does truly whisper. It whispers in so many different ways. We just haven't been taught how to interpret those whispers to know exactly what it's saying and how best to support it. So, in this episode, we're going to go through some of the ways the body whispers and things that you can do to adhere to those whispers so you don't end up in the full blown tantrum screaming fit. Okay. But before we get into that, I want to share with you just the top 3 things that we went over in last episode, episode 2, which was cutting through the noise in the health industry. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to that, if you go into the show notes, whether you're on the podcast platforms or on YouTube, you can find a link to that episode and check out all the goodies there. But top 3 things that we went through is there's no one size fits all approach to any guideline for health and wellness. There's no one size fits all approach, whether it's a supplement, whether it's a food plan, whether it's a morning routine, a nighttime routine, a skincare routine. There's no one size fits all. You have to be mindful about not becoming too rigid in following fad diets or taking excessive amounts of supplements that aren't right for you. It's really important to really tune into your body and see what it has to say. The other point, developing a beautiful relationship with your body is key to truly understanding its needs and individualizing your unique wellness plan. So what I mean by that is when you begin to develop a relationship with this body that gets to take you through this life, when you start to look at it as a separate entity of who you are on a conscious level, right? Like I'm speaking to you, Dr. Brooke is speaking to you, you're hearing this, and your body is doing all sorts of things in the background as you're sitting here listening to this. You could not keep yourself alive if you had to consciously think about it. So by developing this mindset of it being 2 separate things, you and your body, and developing the greatest relationship with it, it's vitally important. And it's a beautiful way of really starting to cultivate this understanding of its cues and what it's telling you and its idiosyncrasies and certain things that happen to it, because we're all so unique. The other thing I spoke about is make sure you don't drink too little water, but also make sure you don't drink too much water, right? So we got to find our Goldilocks zone. Your pee in a Goldilocks zone should be a taint yellowish, not super clear where it looks like water is in the toilet, where you don't even feel like you need a flush. You also don't want it super bright yellow. So if you're seeing super bright yellow, you probably are having really expensive urine because you're dumping a lot of the supplementation that you're taking, that your body is like, darn it, so-and-so put this in my system and I don't need this. And I have to spend all the energy to metabolize it. And then we get that bright yellow pee. When it's really, really clear, you're just flushing your whole entire system and diluting it. So we want a taint yellowish color. And that is the perfect Goldilocks zone with water. Cool. Top 3 that we spoke about last episode. Check out the full episode for more information there. Today's discussion, deciphering your body's whispers. I'm going to share with you 3 of them. I did put together a document that contains 5 of the subtle signs. I'm going to be going through 3 of those in great detail here on this podcast, but not to make the episode incredibly long. I'm going to narrow it down to 3 of them and really discuss what you can do when these things come up. And then if you want to get the extra two and then begin to have this journey of learning alongside me as I guide you through this process, we're going to be adding more and more and more to there. But we're going to start small because I'm not overwhelming you. This is not about overwhelming you. This is getting to a point where you begin to start this process of understanding when your body is saying no to something and when it is saying yes to something. So, in getting started, it is so vitally important to pay attention to these subtle signs that your body gives off so you can nip things in the bud before they become full-blown issues, aka screams, right? Body will whisper before it screams. If you've ever seen my podcast cover art, all of the words besides my name, your body speaks, are all in lowercase. And that was intentionally done to show you, hey, we're not screaming. This is not all capital letters, right? We're not screaming at you. Although I know I can get very animated and passionate about things, but really wanted to let you know your body first whispers. We're not talking about early detection. So there's a difference. So early detection is you going in for routine things like mammograms, males getting prostate exams and different things that we do, annual checkups, women in their pap smears and so forth. That's all early detection for things, catching things if something is there and giving you a clean bill of health if nothing is there and so forth. This is really us looking at things through a viewpoint of disease prevention, right? So if we nip these whispers in the butt before they manifest, we are going to help our body create healthier moment on healthier moment on healthier moment so that it's about disease prevention and not just the management of something, okay? And getting started, the biggest one, and this is something that goes treated or people just ignore it. That's the word I'm looking for. People just ignore it so often and it just goes by the wayside and then they don't understand what happened. The biggest number one I'm going to tell you is sneezing. Now, if you're sneezing and you have allergies and your eyes are watering and your nose is dripping clear fluid, that's like if you need to take a Benadryl or if you need to take an antihistamine in that case, that's a seasonal allergy. I'm talking about you're randomly going throughout your day and you have one or two sneezes come in a row, no watery eyes, no dripping nose, just all of a sudden randomly sneezing. And you're just like, oh, bless you. And that's it, right? No, that is not it. That is a telltale sign that your immune system is kicking into gear. It is going into battle against something. So when that happens, when you have the you need to A, drink plenty of fluid, B, get some rest. This is not pushing all-nighters or getting yourself caught up in, nonstop work projects or recreational activities or things like that. It's, hey, I need to go to bed at a decent hour tonight. I had those two sneezes at lunchtime. I'm going to make sure I stay hydrated with fluids. I'm going to go to bed at a decent hour. I'm going to give my body the rest that it needs. And 3, avoid sugar at all costs. I'm talking all sugar, not just candy bars and crackers and things that we think of with sugar. I'm talking honey. I'm talking any of the other sweeteners people use, like sugar alcohol sweeteners, like the monk fruits and xylitol and stevia and anything sweet. Now, I've had patients in the past feel like they're going into immune system distress. And so what they do is they will consume a lot of orange juice and with the mindset that they're getting a ton of vitamin C in. And while that may be the case, it's actually not a great source of immune support at all, because not only are you consuming a ton of fructose in that orange juice, the amount of vitamin C you're getting in that outweighs the amount of sugar coming in that your body has to ward off. Magnesium is vitally important for your immune system. You need magnesium for your immune system to function. So sneezing randomly, avoid all sugar at all costs, get some rest, and drink fluids. If you do those three things, even for the rest of that day and maybe a portion into the following day, guarantee you won't be knocked on your butt for anything. Even if your immune system kicks up and you do get knocked on your butt, it's going to run through your system so much faster by listening to that whisper than you trying to push through and not doing all the stuff and eating a ton of sugar and doing what you do. It's going to set you backwards. Now, doing these three things, which are very easy to do, and thinking, oh, I don't know if I can avoid sugar for long term. You don't have to avoid it for long term. I'm telling you, for the time being, you go on a zero sugar diet at that moment. And you support your system. You want to give your body a fighting chance to be able to do what it needs to do to take care of you. Okay, one of the things I have done for maybe 13 years now, and it may be a little wild for some of you. So for my wild and crazy listeners, for those of you who are brave, one of the things that you also can incorporate is right before bedtime, taking some raw garlic cloves. You can either put it through a garlic press, which is easier to do, to be honest with you, or you can dice it up on a cutting board, cut it up in little pieces and let it oxidize, meaning let it get exposed to oxygen for about 5 minutes. What you do is then you take like a spoon, you put it all on a spoon and you take it down like you would be swallowing a supplement. Okay. Like don't chew it. Do not chew it. I do not chew. Put it on the spoon. If you have to take it in 3 different swallows, that's totally fine. But whatever, 2 to 3 cloves, take it down and down it with water and go to bed. And you will wake up, I'm telling you, like feeling like really, really good. Really, really good. If you do those things, if you nip it in the bud before it happens, before things fully manifest into full-blown sickness, you will feel better when you wake up in the morning and you can carry on without getting knocked down out of nowhere. I don't know where that came from. I don't know why I just all of a sudden got sick. I must have been out and about. Well, no, your body actually gave you a signal. Hey, help me. I need support. And we didn't listen to that. So drink fluids, avoid sugar, and get some rest. And then if you're brave, take down some raw garlic and you'll wake up feeling amazing. Now, second one, generalized achiness all over the body. So sometimes we're kind of going about our day and we just feel icky, like muscles sore, joints feel crickety. We're just kind of going around. Now, of course, this is also a sign that we weren't listening to the sneezing. And so now we've moved from sneezing. The body's giving us another signal. Hey, your body's aching. It's hurting. You're starting to feel like ick, like maybe fluish. Hey, do those 3 things that I was mentioning to you about the sneezing, and you'll find yourself having an easier time getting through the sickness if you do those 3 things and like stop the sugar immediately. But generalized achiness that isn't necessarily always related to the immune system. And to be honest with you, this is something a lot of my female patients, myself included, have experienced. So if you're a man listening to this and you have a female in your life, sister, mother, girlfriend, wife, understand that this might be going on and this is information you can share with them. So this does apply to you, but not directly. So generalized achiness for women, and I won't use this entire podcast episode to break down this whole cycle, but our menstrual cycle is broken up into essentially 4 different sections. So we have what is called our bleed week or our menstruating week. Then we go into the follicular phase. Right after that is over. And then that triggers ovulation. That is like the shortest portion of the cycle. And then right after ovulation, we go into what is called the luteal phase. Now, with the luteal phase is towards the end of the one whole menstrual cycle, and progesterone is high. And with high progesterone, it causes just, when our breast tenderness or just like achiness in our body. But the other thing that happens is we actually have something called prostaglandins. And prostaglandins are hormone-like substances in the body that actually increase in numbers during this time that we're in the luteal phase with the high progesterone, because it actually helps keep if the body is preparing for, oh, hey, it didn't get pregnant, now it's having to break down all of this stuff. Prostaglandins are what is there, like doing all that breaking down. So with those in motion and those in high frequency in the body, they cause inflammation to your joints. They start to make you feel very achy. Now, being a practitioner and practicing the way that I do, I use my hands a lot. A lot of my patients are aware of that. And so during actually my luteal phase, I'm very achy in my hands. Like I could just feel, oh, so much. And without even looking at my tracking app, I know exactly where I'm at in my cycle. So those can be things that are somewhat correctable. Sometimes they're things that we just need to either like ride through. I mean, obviously taking a ibuprofen or an Advil or things like that can help support you to get through that little hump. If you're more like me and natural minded and you don't want to do those kind of things, some of the questions you can ask your body is like, hey, are you okay with some curcumin, turmeric to help take some of that achiness away? Other times it just requires us to just really recognize that that is the state of period we're in, and know that it will pass. And I think that it gives us some hope when we know what's going on in our bodies, that we don't need to freak out like, oh my gosh, am I getting sick? Oh my gosh, what's happening? I'm not getting sick. And so what is this other thing? Oh, it's prostaglandins. Okay. All right, cool. They're gonna pass in a few days and everything's gonna be great. What you can do beyond just hydrating and resting, like I said, with the immune stuff, is to eat foods that are high in protein, complex carbohydrates, your sweet potatoes, your carrots, things like that, leafy greens, to really support the levels in your body to like help you work through that as you're going through those periods in your cycle. The other thing, this is one that people can associate with so many different things, and so it's really hard to interpret. But we're going to break down a few different reasons on why someone may be experiencing excessive fatigue. And I'm talking about fatigue where it's just like no matter how long you sleep, no matter what you do, you just feel like you're dragging butt all throughout the day and you're just like barely inching by. Again, kind of just like with the achy and the general muscle pain in the body can be related to immune system distress. Of course, excessive fatigue can go hand in hand with the achy body as well. So it can be immune system related as well. However, when you're not experiencing any of the like achy body feeling and you kind of go back and you're like, have I sneezed recently? And being more mindful of that, and you're still feeling very like exhausted, it can be a dysregulated blood sugar. Now, dysregulated blood sugar, what that means is that you have high spikes and then down low, high spikes and then down low. And so it's really not staying like regulated where it's staying in a smooth line. It's going high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, like just almost like jumping up and down on a trampoline, which is not good for the brain at all. It's very, very damaging to the body to have dysregulated blood sugar. So this is something, if you're on my email list for the month of October, I actually sent out a whole newsletter about blood sugar and how important it is and what to do to stabilize that. So if you haven't gotten that, message me and I will make sure to send you a copy of that so you can see all of the information. But in a nutshell, what helps stabilize blood sugar the best is protein. Protein keeps everything stable. So if you're feeling really fatigued and you're noticing it like at work and you go on your lunch break and then you feel like, oh my gosh, I need another cup of coffee, I need a nap, something's happening to me, We know that there's something going on with blood sugar, so let's get some beef jerky, let's get a hard-boiled egg, let's get in some nuts, let's maybe eat a cheese stick if you can have dairy. Having some good protein source can really help stabilize that blood sugar for you. And we need proper fuel. So our blood sugar is important. We need to be eating proper amount of food per day for our system. Now, I'm always really telling patients or sharing with patients, educating patients would be a better way of saying it, to really trust their own body's instincts. It's not about starving yourself to try to lose weight. It's not about overeating. It's really developing a relationship with food that's actually sustaining and helpful to your body, because it is food that gives us the fuel to function. So if we have a low battery on our cell phone, and it is coming down into the red zone, we need to plug that battery in, right? We need to plug our phone in so we can charge it up, just like our bodies. So when we're feeling fatigue and we're feeling, oh my gosh, even after eating, that's a sign, hey, we put more fuel in our system, but our body is like not able to process it. So did we put diesel in our gas powered car, or did we do something to eat something not right for our system? So these are signs where you can be taking actual like food journals also. Like, okay, like what did I just eat for lunch? Let me track how I feel the next time I eat that and see if we can sparse out and figure out where the culprit is, right? And as you develop, just like I was sharing in the beginning, as you develop a better relationship with your body and you start to view it as a separate piece of you, and you start to ask it questions. Hey, did you like that quinoa I just ate? What did you feel about that steak that I had? And so forth. And you'll be able to isolate and get answers. And then as you develop, you'll get faster and faster and faster and faster. One of the other reasons about excessive fatigue that you can have is a low iron issue. Um, Iron is important for energy production in the body, mitochondrial function in the body. It is a necessary mineral that we need. And a lot of people are taking iron, or they've heard about iron and so forth. And one of the things I want to mention, this is a caveat to iron, is iron actually is a dual phase reactant. Dual phase reactant, meaning it is both beneficial for you, but it's also inflammatory. So you can't just take iron just because you want to take iron, because you can actually be causing inflammatory processes in your body to be occurring when you're thinking, oh, well, hey, I heard, yeah, everybody takes iron and everybody takes zinc and everybody does vitamin C and everybody does all these things. All of those things that I've just mentioned, the ones that we hear about a lot, iron, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, can all be toxic. All of these can be toxic. So just taking them willy-nilly because you heard something doesn't necessarily mean it's right for your body. So some at-home telltale signs of like low iron, which is cause for anemia, is if you're chewing ice or like have a desire to chew ice, that can be an aspect of low iron, or craving ice. If you crave dirt, like these, I know this sounds really bizarre, but if all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I need to eat dirt, to get some iron food in your body, get some food with iron. Now, if you do eat meat, obviously red meats have a lot of iron, leafy greens have a lot of iron. You can simply do, hey, what foods are high in iron? It would be almost beneficial to consume more iron heavy foods than it would be to take a supplement willy-nilly. If you are going to supplement, I would start with a very, very low dose and eat with the iron foods together. So those are the top three: sneezing, excessive fatigue, and general muscle aches. Not in that order: sneezing, general muscle fatigue, and excessive fatigue. There are two others that I have put in the show notes for you to have. It is the 5 subtle signs that your body gives that is there for you to learn about and really just have this in written format also, not just me verbally speaking about it. So I do realize that this is a very short list of some of the body whispers, but these are some of the more common ones that we actually set aside that we ignore. So these are the ones that I really wanted to talk about. A lot of times people will not ignore signs when it's like isolated, like I have isolated right knee pain, or I have isolated weepy eye, or have isolated whatever's going on. Isolated stuff people tend not to ignore. Those are the ones that or they do kind of ignore, and they'll put a Tylenol or put a Advil in there and hope it goes away and just continue about their day, not even thinking about what did I eat? What did I do? Did I do something my body didn't like? But you guys are not those people. You are my people, and we believe in doing things more natural, more holistic, more body supporting, and we want to figure things out. So I want you to focus on not just the isolated pain areas in your body, or the, ooh, I got a little muscle or tummy ache, right? But really focus on these things like sneezing, the general achiness in your body, especially if you're a female. I shared a lot about the cycle and about the excessive fatigue. And so I will be going through more, as I mentioned earlier. And in closing, I want to share, just as I always have in the other episodes, that this is something you can develop over time. This is not something that you just pick up overnight and all of a sudden your body tells you exactly in plain English or plain whatever language you speak what is exactly going on. It is building a relationship, just like you would build a relationship with a friend, with a boyfriend, with your husband, with your family members. These relationships are cultivated over time as you get to know those people, as you get to know those significant others in your life, right? The people that are important to you, as you get to know them, you understand their likes, dislikes, and so forth. Why are we not developing that same relationship with our body? This is what this whole entire, the premise of all the stuff we're going to be talking about on this podcast. I'm always going to bring you back to our North Star, which is focusing on your health and well-being, everything that your body wants, not all the noise, not all the chaos, not all the overwhelm, not all the confusion, nothing. We want to focus on what it is that your body needs. You don't have to understand all the nitty gritty, everything, all the pieces that I might understand as a practitioner. This is information I'm going to be sharing with you, but this is also something you can put into practice even to today. And if you are starting to feel overwhelmed, let me just stop you right there, because we are not going to go into a sense of overwhelm, because overwhelm brings us into a state of fear and not into a state of faith, which faith, in a state of faith, is where you heal. You don't heal when your nervous system is in fight or flight, freaking out about everything, right? We need to be in a state of faith, knowing our body is incredibly self-healing, self-regulating, and self-organizing, okay? That being said, I am so honored that you are taking time out of your day to educate yourself about your body, to listen to this information. And I don't take this task lightly. I am very honored that you are spending your time with me. And in episode 4, in a couple weeks, we will be talking about stress and its impact on your body and your health and what it does. Some of the things for you guys that I'm going to speak about is weight loss gridlock. So when you're trying to lose weight and you're getting into gridlock mode and nothing's happening and you feel like you're plateauing and you're eating all the right food and nothing's budging, stress. Immune system destruction, stress. Ligament damage to your entire body, stress. It also causes an uphill battle when we're attempting to heal. If we don't keep stress, cortisol in check, we are going to be running with a 50-pound backpack full of rocks on our back as we go up a steep climb. Now, randomly popped up in my head. I did tell you episode 1, you will get random analogies from me and metaphors, but we want our bodies to be able to create healing moment on healing moment on healing moment on healing moment, not further destruction, further destruction, further destruction as we, go about our lives and age and so forth. So we're going to be taking that backpack off, taking all of those things that are hindering the healing process in our bodies, and we are going to bring it back to full restoration of the way that God designed it to work. And we are going to have this beautiful, beautiful relationship with it. With that being said, Dr. Brooke out, and I will talk to you in 2 weeks. Bye.